Okay, now we've done the frequency separation on the skin. So let's see, a little before and after. See, not that much stuff in frequency separation. Zoom in, and honestly, probably went too far with that. But, you know, for sake of tutorial. Alright, so the next step is dodging and burning with curves. So set up your first curve layer. I bring the middle point up just a titch. Invert it. I'm going to call it up. You can call it dodge. Whatever you want. Next one I'm going to do, I'm going to bring it down. Same way. Invert it. We'll call it down. You can call it burn. Whatever you want. Alright, so on this black layer mask, make sure we have a white. Oh, we're on the clone. Let's go to a brush. Make sure we're on white because we're on black here. Up here, pressure sensitive on, opacity 100, flow. I like to be between 1% and 3%. We're going to start with 2. Okay, and a very, very tiny brush. Get up in here, and you can kind of just see like that part right there is dark. So we're on the up, so we're just gonna slightly paint that part to be a little brighter. And here we're just gonna kind of go around and find the darker spots that we want to brighten up. And basically all you're doing is like creating smooth transitions from your highlights and your shadows and making sure that like everything blends well, you know, like there's no blotchy skin and your highlights and your shadows are just nice and uniform. See, so then it's easy to see it when you kind of pull back. So I could see right there, there's like a dark line right there and right there and right there and right there. It's kind of harsh. So while it's backed up, I'm going to get a little bit of a bigger brush and just slightly, softly lighten that stuff up. And the good thing with this is you can just hit X if you went too far, right here, and paint it back how it was. Or I can go up to the down, and that light streak there, I'm going to paint in that darker. Oop. On the wrong color. See? And then right there, darken that a little bit. But you want to make sure that you don't take it too far, that you're actually like changing the structure of the person, like their bone structure, you know? There's kind of this light spot in his hair. So I'll just darken that. Just run through there and scrub it out. Right around here can probably be a little bit softer of a transition. Boom, boom. Go with the smaller brush, get in those little spots there. Even this out. I don't know what this splotchy dark spot is. We're going to go back to the light. Lighten that up. And then there's like this weird little like S thing here, or a hook looking whatever. So I'll do that. And yeah, you basically just go around and just like slowly paint to where it's like evened out, you know? Again, with guys, you don't want to take it too far, but again, for sake of tutorial, this is what we're doing. Just so you could see. So now I can, like if you go in here, you can see there's like little like light spots. So go back to the down. And because we're on the flow of so low and the opacity's high, it's like you just slowly just keep going over and over and over the problem areas. This way, you know, one stroke isn't like, whoa. See, if it was at 100, it'd be like, boom. Well, we don't want that. We want to go slow. And just go all in all these spots. And the cool thing about this set up this way as well is like if you have to fix the color, like over here, his ear is pretty magenta. So you can do another curve layer and go into your green and magenta curve and like add the green, invert it, go through here and slowly just paint that part in. Now ears are naturally more red, especially like in the shadow areas. So, you know, you gotta be careful not to go too far, which, you know, obviously that was, because then his ear turns super green. But to show on, off, maybe still a little too green, but you get the point. So where you can fix like any skin color variations this way as well, where it's by hand and it's very local and you have a lot of control over it, because then you can lower the opacity. You can always flip your brush back around and repaint it out. Like I'm seeing there's a lot of, this came from Capture One, so it had a little love on it, a little flavor before export, like some green in the shadows and stuff like that. So that was cool. It kind of gave it a vibe, you know, but some parts I want to go back. So I'll do another layer, go back in that same green, but now I'm going to pull it to the magenta slightly, invert, and then kind of slowly paint in where I see it's like pretty green. Oh, still on a black brush, now we're at white. And like that went pretty fast. I like to do it a little bit slower. So maybe the curve was too much, or at that point I could maybe do 50% on the opacity so it never goes that high. And just kind of anywhere where I see a lot of green that is looking a little funky, we're gonna get it back to having a nice skin tone color. And a lot of times what you can do with this is like, after you get done harmonizing it, bringing it all together, like the whole thing overall might be too magenta. Well, then you can do the whole thing by something like hue saturation, go into your reds, push saturation all the way up, use this little bar to kind of isolate the red areas that you want. When that's all the way up, you can really see it. We're going to kill that, go back to 0. So you can't see it, but right here is like the areas of the red, whatever you call it, that are actually affected by it. So then up in here we can change the color tone of just that selected red area. So before and after. After, before. So it helps in there. But people have red in their skin. You know, you got to have variations in the color or else it doesn't look right. So that affected the lips. So let's put a mask, flip it around, bring it back to 100. Paint back in the lips. We're going to go to like 20% on the opacity. And we'll kind of paint it back in around the eyes, because it's always red around the eyes, kind of around the nose, a little bit in the ears. You know, just give it some variation so it's not all the same. Now you can see, and it's slight too, but all these little tricks end up helping complete the whole look to where it looks natural, but, you know, polished. So we'll do before and after now. Before, after, zoom in. Before, after, before, after. There's still some more that I would like to fix, like, or at least soften. So we'll go back to how our brushes were. 2 on flow, 100% opacity. Like this line right here is a little harsh. This line right here is a little harsh. And this is a little harsh as well. Then we'll go to the down. Darken that part. You know, so it's all just kind of evening. This, that, this, that, this, that. Darken a little bit right there. Maybe darken this so it's not so drastic in the eye socket. But like, if you get rid of this, then they don't look human. You know, that's your eye socket. That's the structure of your bone. If you take that away, you don't have a cheek anymore. You know what I mean? And I just see that all too often. It kills me. So, sorry, not hating. I just want to be meticulous, and I want people to, you know how to do it the best way possible, so their work looks polished, professional, high end, and you know, up to industry standard. So, do a little bit of lightening in here, a little bit on there, and maybe a tad in this here. But again, if you kind of get rid of all this stuff in the forehead, then it doesn't look like a person anymore. So, a little bit light there. And again, I like to pull back to see the overall. Oftentimes, like when you look at it as a thumbnail, it's when you really see all the flaws. You're like, oh shit. Went too far there, messed up that. But it's okay, you can always go back, take it too far, and then dial it back with opacity or, you know, whatever it may be. If you go too far as a whole, you can come up here, hold Option. This drop-down menu, if you keep holding Option, will give you Merge Visible. Hold that down, and you're going to stamp Visible Layer. There's a shortcut for that, I just always forget it. So we can go to Background, double it up, because that's the original. We're going to drag it on top now, and so that's what's showing is the original, because it's on top. But if you put a layer mask on that, invert it, and then pull the opacity back, you know, you can kind of let some of that original come through. Oh, sorry, no, this needs to be on. You need to be able to see it, not hide it. So you see it all the way, and then drag it back and let some of that retouch through. And you kind of get a blend of both of them if you take it too far. So I hope this helps. And sorry if I got a lot of and I mumble, but I don't know. I thought maybe I could help a few people. Cool. See you on the next one. Peace.